Good evening, everyone. Tonight we embark on a rather peculiar journey where the sound of the wind rustling through the valley is as natural as a background soundtrack. Imagine you open your eyes and all around you you hear the growls of beasts. There's no soft bed, no nightlight, and most notably, no doctor. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? You probably wouldn't survive through this phase of humanity. Let's imagine for a moment that you are reborn. But this time, you become a prehistoric person. What would your life be like? No painkillers, no medical bandages, just branches, leaves, and a bit of luck to keep you alive. Even the smallest injury could lead to death, and a toothache would have you writing a will, if you could even write. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I'm doing here. And don't forget to leave a comment. Where are you listening from and at what time? Now let's turn off the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for a gentle background noise, and let's enjoy the journey tonight together. Part 1. Waking up among stones and bones. You stir awake not on a soft bed with a feather pillow, but on the cold damp earth as hard as unfinished concrete. The air around you smells of lingering smoke, old animal hides, and scattered animal bones like some prehistoric living room. Above you, the cave ceiling drips with water, each drop echoing like a ticking clock, reminding you that here there's no Wi-Fi, no food delivery app, and certainly no general hospital. You turn carefully, and your back feels stiff, as if you've just spent the night on a broken plastic chair. Outside the cave, the wind howls, accompanied by suspicious rustling sounds. It could be rats, or perhaps a saber-toothed tiger contemplating its breakfast. You sit up, finding your arms and legs covered in dirt, a few scratches that have dried into a brownish color, resembling some primitive form of band-aids. But then it hits you, your reincarnation into a time where humans had to rediscover everything from scratch. Right now, even a small scratch, if not cleaned properly, could turn into an infection, and goodbye. You stagger outside. The valley stretches before you, vast and green, but somewhere in the distance, the caw of a crow rings out like a death knell. You can't help but think, if I had an appendicitis here, I'd probably become the short-lived legend of the tribe. It's true, in archaeological studies, they've found human bones with healed fractures, meaning they somehow survived without a doctor. Maybe the tribe nourished them with soft foods, kept them safe from wild beasts, like some prehistoric version of health insurance. You bend down to pick up a smooth, heavy piece of bone. Someone had used it as a tool, or maybe a pillow, perhaps both. You chuckle at the thought of sleeping on bone as a new interior design trend. Modern life with memory foam and spring mattresses would never imagine the idea of resting your head on a piece of elephant bone. But you don't have a choice. You try laying your head down, and it's both cold and hard, the ultimate spa service for spinal degeneration. Suddenly, a scream echoes from afar. Maybe someone was bitten by a snake, or simply stepped on a thorn. Immediately you think of the first aid kit in the modern world, hydrogen peroxide gauze allergy medicine. Here it's different. The prehistoric person would crush a few leaves, smear them on the wound, and pray to the heavens. You imagine if prehistoric health insurance existed, the only benefit would be extra animal skin to wrap around wounds. Inside the cave you spot some crude drawings on the walls. A wounded animal, a hunter using a branch as a crutch. And it seems like someone even drew a scene of falling flat while fleeing. These drawings aren't just art, they're body instructions. Be careful, because when you break your leg, there won't be any orthopedic doctor to set your bones. You shudder as you think about the modern world where a simple slip on the stairs could have you in the emergency room within 15 minutes. Here, if you slip, the emergency response might be lying still and waiting. Humanity's patience is measured in the number of days you survive, not how long you wait for your hospital number to be called. The wind picks up. You tighten the animal's skin around yourself, realizing that just a simple cold could turn into a curse. Prehistoric people didn't know about vitamin C, let alone antibiotics. They knew fire, they knew bones, and they knew endurance. Perhaps it was this very endurance that helped them survive, so that you can sit here today, imagining this paradoxical scene. You hear your stomach growl. In that moment of hunger, you silently wish for a hot cup of coffee, but then remember coffee won't be discovered for another 1,000 years. Here you only have to chew on the bitter roots, grimacing as you remind yourself, the natural detox. Remember when you lived your previous life, historians would argue whether prehistoric people cared for their sick and wounded. Well, now you know the truth they did, but in ways that would make your head ache just listening to them. You glance around at the scene, bones, stones, fire, and hold on to a glimmer of hope that the scratch on your hand doesn't turn into something worse. You take a deep breath, trying to enjoy what's called the pristine air, and tell yourself perhaps tomorrow, when you go hunting, things will be even tougher, because the next step, most likely, will be your first lesson in broken bones while hunting. Part 2. Broken leg. While hunting, you drag yourself outside the early morning covered in a hazy mist, and your stomach growls like a war drum. There's no supermarket, no fridge. Only one option: hunting. You and a few members of the tribe creep along the damp, grassy trail, your hands gripping spears made of stone and animal hide. Your breath forms a white cloud, and you briefly wish you had a pair of anti-slip sneakers. Perhaps that would make you feel more confident. But instead, your feet are wrapped in a few layers of animal skin, as slippery as worn plastic sandals. You hear the rustling of a deer ahead. The group falls silent, preparing to throw their spears. You tense your muscles and spring forward, and just then, a wet stone betrays you. Your foot slides, and you hear a sharp crack, the sound of something brittle breaking like a dry twig snapping. You land flat on the ground, your mouth filled with grass, while the deer leisurely bounds away, probably thinking, "Humans are so clumsy." The sharp pain from your leg forces you to scream, but you know that shouting would just invite the wild beasts to join in the broken leg buffet. The tribe watches you, sighing, as if this isn't the first time a member has broken a leg during the hunt. Prehistoric people were no strangers to this. It was a familiar occurrence. There's no cast, no metal brace, just two options: die slowly in the cave or survive through the bizarre ingenuity of your fellow tribe members. One person quickly snaps a branch, presses it against your leg, and ties it with leather. The makeshift splint looks both crude and agonizing, like you're trying out a DIY IKEA crutch that hasn't been assembled properly. But you understand, it's the only thing that's keeping your bone from piercing through your skin. You're carried back to the cave, your back bouncing against your companion's bony shoulders, each jolt feeling like someone's hammering nails into your body. You think of the wooden crutches from medieval films and chuckle. At least you're playing the role of genuine pain, no special effects. Inside the cave, you're laid down on animal hides. Someone smears tree sap on your leg, as if it's some sort of magical healing balm. You groan, and they simply nod. Good if you're still breathing tomorrow, it means you haven't died yet. Yes, that's prehistoric healthcare, short, sweet, and to the point. In the following days, you hobble along with a branch crutch, learning to walk like a child taking their first steps. Every time you stumble, you recall the physical therapy sessions in the modern world, with machines spinning chairs, and a doctor's gentle instructions. Here, your only doctor is the grizzly bear, waiting outside the cave, hoping you'll step out. Surprisingly, after a few months, your bone begins to heal. Archaeologists have found prehistoric skeletons with healed fractures, proving that the tribes cared for their wounded. They didn't abandon them. Everyone was part of the collective strength. It's strange in this seemingly brutal world, there's an unspoken humanity. You lean on your crutch, looking out toward the herd of animals grazing in the distance. You think to yourself, maybe one day people will invent plaster painkillers and ambulances. But for now, you must practice walking, endure the pain, and most importantly, laugh at your own circumstances. Because if you don't, you might go crazy living with a throbbing leg for another 6 months. Remember when you lived in the modern world, historians debated whether prehistoric people knew how to set bones. Now you know the truth, they did, but in ways that would make your leg hurt, just thinking about it. You sit your leg wrapped in leaves thinking, this is the prehistoric version of a broken bone insurance policy. And as the sunset paints the valley, you know that you've officially entered the phase of survival through patience. But the bigger question awaits, if not a broken leg. What will happen when your hand is pierced by an animal's teeth? Part 3. Canine teeth piercing your hand. You've recovered from your broken leg, but the scar remains on your shin like a strange signature from fate. One morning, while foraging for roots by the riverbank, you hear a low growl behind you. Turning around, you meet the yellow glowing eyes of a wolf staring right at you. It's not as big as a lion, but its teeth are sharp enough to slice through fruit, like a new knife bought at the market. You quickly grab a stick thinking, this is what it's like trying to catch a wolf with bare hands. The animal lunges at you, and instinctively you thrust your hand out to defend yourself. Its teeth sink deep into your palm, and a wave of sharp pain shoots straight to your bones. You scream, flailing wildly with the stick. Fortunately, some of the tribe come rushing over, yelling and throwing stones, causing the wolf to retreat, leaving you with a blood-soaked hand. Now comes the absurd part. There's no bandage, no antiseptic. You're treated by dipping your hand into mud and wrapping it with leaves. They say the mud will ease the pain. You groan in disbelief and think, this isn't the fancy spa treatment those high-end resorts advertise. This is a pain-soaked version of it. Your hand swells up, turning a deep purple, and you run a fever for several days. You think about those times when you would get rabies shots in the modern world. Just a few injections and peace of mind. Here, each fever feels like a gamble. Either you survive, or you fade away as just another forgotten name in the tribe's history. The elders in the tribe rummage through their stash of bitter herbs, crush them, and apply the paste to your wound while performing a ritual calling on the forest gods for protection. You lie there, the pungent smell of herbs filling your nose, but the pain is more real than any medicine. You even wonder, if I survive, will I turn into a prehistoric werewolf? What's even more remarkable is that archaeologists have found human bones with wolf bite marks. But the person survived long enough for the bones to heal. It shows that survival through community care wasn't uncommon. They didn't leave each other to die, even if the methods were as crude as they come. You think of the modern world again, where a simple dog bite would send you searching Google for symptoms. Here, there's no Google. Only a tribal expert who declares, if you're still breathing tomorrow, you're fine. Simple, efficient, and quick. You sit there, your hand wrapped in leaves, itching and smelling like mud. It's ironic, in a world without soap or alcohol, wipes the earth and leaves become your saviors. You remember when you lived in your previous life. Historians debated whether prehistoric people knew how to disinfect with herbs. Now you know the truth. They tried. Sometimes they succeeded. Sometimes they just made you itch more. You sigh, staring at your wound, and think, if I survive the broken leg and the wolf bite, I guess I'm qualified to open a tribal general clinic. But then you hear someone coughing in the cave, a deep, hoarse cough that echoes through the space, signaling that the tribe's next challenge is on the way. Part 4. Malaria on a cold night. That night you curl up in the cave, your breath shallow and ragged, your body burning like a coal wrapped in ash. The air around you is cold. And despite the fire flickering nearby, it feels like you've been stuffed into a freezer, only to be shoved into an oven moments later. The thin animal hide blanket does nothing to protect you. It's itching you shedding fur, but it's still your only source of warmth. You realize you have a fever, not the mild kind that can be cured with paracetamol, but something deeper, an ancient sickness that has been around for tens of thousands of years. In the present day, people have quinine medicine to fight malaria, but here you only have water boiled from the river, and if you're lucky, it won't have any river rats in it. The cold sets in harder, your body shaking uncontrollably, teeth chattering, as if an invisible force is rattling your bones. You try to curl into a ball, hugging the fire, but the warmth seems to be vanishing. No one wants to wake up to gather more wood. You think, if I were in modern times, I'd just call for an ambulance, and in a few minutes, I'd be in a warm hospital bed with fluids pumping into me. But here, the only thing you have to rely on is the hope that the fire doesn't go out. The tribe notices your condition. They quickly gather a variety of leaves and boil them into a bitter dark brew, handing it to you like some form of sacred cure. You sip it feeling as though you're swallowing earth itself. They tell you it's the water of the gods, and you grimace, swallowing the foul liquid. You tell yourself, well, if it works, maybe they really do have divine powers. Over the next few days, your fever comes and goes. 1 minute you're shivering with chills, the next you're drenched in sweat. The tribe doesn't have much, just the heat of the fire and the determination of their ancestors, but they seem to make it through. The nights stretch on as you fight through the sickness, your body struggling to battle something that has no modern cure. Eventually, as your fever slowly recedes, you realize that this is part of the cycle. Without medicine, without care in the way we know it, the body had to fight on its own, relying on the primitive strength of the immune system. But like the others in the tribe, you've made it through another trial. You've survived a disease that's haunted humankind for millennia. You think of the modern world, where people complain about staying in a hospital for a few days, with air conditioning, food delivery, and the comforts of modern medicine. Here, just surviving through a night of fever can be a victory. You realize that without modern technology, survival becomes an exercise in patience and endurance. And as the fire crackles beside you, and the cold night air finally gives way to warmth, you know you've conquered another small battle in this primal existence. But soon the challenge will change as your mind clears, you feel a dull ache in your tooth, and you realize the next challenge is already beginning. The next fight, it seems, will be against the pain that grows stronger with each passing moment, your aching tooth. Part 5. A toothache that feels like it will explode. You thought you had conquered the worst of your struggles, but as the fever fades and your strength returns, a new pain emerges deep in the back of your mouth. At first, it's just a slight discomfort, a dull ache that seems to linger after every meal. You try to ignore it, chewing on the rough, bitter roots that the tribe prepares for you, hoping the pain will fade away like everything else. But instead, it grows gnawing at you relentlessly. It's like a steady rhythm, one that you can't escape, beating through your skull with every pulse of your heart. By the time the pain reaches its peak, it's no longer a dull ache. It's a fire, sharp and blinding, as if the tooth is trying to explode out of your jaw. You grit your teeth, desperate to find some relief. You try pressing your hand to your cheek, hoping the magical massage will work, but it only makes the pain worse. The ache spreads, radiating through your face, down your neck, and into your temple. It feels like your entire head is being crushed between two boulders. Lying on the hard floor of the cave, you can't help but think of the modern world. You think of the clean white dentist's office, the comfortable chair, the cool soothing air, and the gentle touch of a professional who knows exactly what to do. You think of the little syringe filled with numbing gel of the drills that buzz and whir, but at least they bring relief. You would give anything for a minty toothpaste, a toothbrush, or even a simple shot of Novocaine. But here, your options are much more primitive. One of the older women in the tribe, who's lost most of her teeth, looks at you sympathetically and suggests, "Pull it out." She pulls a sharp stone from her bag, her wrinkled fingers gripping it with surprising strength. The look on her face tells you that this is not the gentle recommendation you were hoping for. You feel your heart sink as she hands you the stone, her gaze filled with an eerie confidence. "Trust me," she says, a grin tugging at the corner of her lips. "I've done it before." In modern times, a visit to the dentist would be a simple procedure, relatively painless, quick and effective. But here, there's no gentle anesthetic, no sterile tools, just a sharp stone and the primitive hands of someone who's lived through far worse. You can't help but imagine the luxury of a dentist's office with its soft music and comforting lights. You think of sitting back relaxed while the dentist takes care of everything. But here you're staring at a sharp, jagged stone in the hands of an elder who's more experienced in this form of dental care than you could ever want to be. Your heart races as you feel the stone press against your gums, and for a moment you wonder if it would hurt less, if you just let the pain continue, if you just lived with it. But then you remember survival means enduring, and the tribe can't afford to baby anyone. You close your eyes and brace yourself. The pain is immense. The stone is sharp, and it feels like your whole skull is being wrenched apart. You try not to scream, but it's impossible. The sound of the stone grinding against your tooth fills your ears and your body tenses with every tug. Finally, with a sickening crunch, the tooth is gone, leaving a bloody hole in your mouth. You collapse back onto the fur, panting and sweating from the ordeal. The elder pats you on the shoulder, her eyes filled with a knowing compassion. There she says, "It's done. You'll live." You lie there still shaking your mouth raw and empty. You think of modern dental care once again, of clean white offices and smooth, painless treatments. But here in this world, survival comes down to grit and determination. You've endured another trial, and in this brutal reality, that's what matters most. You think back to the archaeological studies where researchers found skulls with teeth that had been pulled out often with no more than a sharp stone. It proves that people survived even when the pain was unbearable, when the procedures were crude, and when there were no modern comforts to rely on. And now you know the truth. Prehistoric people did what they had to do, even if it meant suffering through unimaginable pain. As you sit up, your jaw throbbing, you realize that the next challenge is already looming on the horizon. But for now, you've survived. And in a world where survival is the only measure of success, that's all that matters. Part 6. A persistent cough for weeks. The days pass, and as you heal from your tooth ordeal, another discomfort begins to take root. It starts as a dry tickle in your throat, barely noticeable at first. But soon it grows into something much worse, a persistent cough that won't let up. Every breath feels like an effort, every inhale a struggle to gather air into your lungs. Your chest feels tight, and with every cough, your body shudders with pain. You try to ignore it at first, thinking it will pass, like any other passing ailment. But it doesn't. It lingers, getting worse with each passing day. You cough so much that your throat feels raw, your body weak. It's as if the air itself has turned against you, and every breath you take is tainted with the sharp sting of your own lungs betraying you. The tribe looks on with concern, but there's little they can do. The air around the fire is thick with smoke, and the animals that roam the area seem to carry sicknesses of their own. You remember the modern world, where something like a persistent cough would be treated in an instant. A little honey, a bit of lemon, or maybe some over-the-counter syrup, and it would be gone in no time. Here, there's nothing but the thick, earthy scent of herbs, which the tribe tries to use to treat your affliction. They boil roots and leaves, offering you a bitter concoction, claiming it will soothe your throat. You grimace, but you swallow it, hoping that something will ease the relentless coughing. As the days drag on, the cough persists. You're awake through the night, unable to sleep for the constant fits that rack your body. It's exhausting. Your body is worn down, and even though you're surrounded by the comfort of the fire and the tribe, you feel an overwhelming sense of isolation. You long for the quiet and peace that comes with health. But in this world, health is a luxury. The elders tell you to rest to sleep through it if you can. But sleep doesn't come easily. Every time you close your eyes, you feel the tightness in your chest and the tickle in your throat. You roll over trying to find comfort in the hard stone floor of the cave, but your body is restless. Each cough feels like a cruel reminder that in this world, sickness can be as deadly as any wild animal. You think of the modern world again, of the soft comfort of a bed, when sick of the ease of popping a pill to relieve the symptoms. But here, there's nothing but time and the will to endure. You think about the primitive remedies, how they used the earth to heal, and wonder how many people have survived through the centuries with little more than the natural resources around them. Eventually the coughing lessens, but it's clear that it's left its mark. You've endured, but you know the next challenge is never far behind. You begin to understand what it means to survive in a world without medicine, where your body's strength and the collective strength of the tribe are all that keep you going. You remember the archaeological discoveries, evidence that prehistoric people survived illnesses without the luxuries we take for granted today. The people of that time didn't have antibiotics or modern medicine, but they had each other, the earth, and an unwavering will to survive. They fought through diseases, injuries, and harsh conditions, learning to endure in a way that modern humans could hardly comprehend. And now, you've learned the truth. Survival in this world is not just about overcoming challenges, but about living through them, learning to adapt, and relying on the collective strength of those around you. It's about enduring the pain, the sickness, and the uncertainty, knowing that each day you survive brings you one step closer to understanding what it means to truly live. Part 7. Injury. While chipping stone. You think that after surviving the fever, the tooth pain, and the endless coughing, perhaps the universe will give you a break. But as it often goes in this harsh world, just as one struggle ends, another begins. One day, while the tribe is gathered around the fire, you're tasked with chipping stone for tools, spears, knives, anything to help with the hunt and daily survival. You sit on a flat rock, a piece of jagged stone in front of you, and begin the rhythmic tapping with another sharp rock. The sound echoes in the cave, a sharp repeating clink, like a prehistoric metronome. You concentrate, striking with precision, forming edges on the stone, shaping it to your will. But then, in an instant, the stone slips from your grip. Before you can stop it, the jagged edge catches the palm of your hand, cutting deep. The pain is immediate and intense, like the stone itself has fused with your skin, carving a deep line through your flesh. You gasp in shock, staring at the blood trickling from your hand. It's not a deep cut, but in this world, even the smallest wound can be dangerous. You wonder how something so simple, just chipping stone, could lead to such a painful injury. Your heart races and you clutch your hand, feeling the hot pulse of blood. The tribe rushes over and the elders quickly assess the wound. There's no antiseptic, no gauze. They tell you to keep the hand elevated, but the bleeding won't stop. You feel the sting of the cut, the blood dripping onto the earth below. It's not much, but it's enough to make you realize that in this world, even the most mundane tasks come with risks. A moment of distraction, a slight slip, and your life could change. One of the tribe members, an experienced healer, quickly gathers large leaves and wraps them around the wound. The leaves, rough and unyielding, press against your skin, and you bite your lip against the discomfort. The healer ties the bundle with leather, securing it tight around your hand. It's not perfect, but it will have to do. You think of the modern world again, of the small first aid kits with antiseptic band-aids and ointments. The thought of a simple quick fix seems like a dream. You think of the clean, controlled environment of a hospital, where a nurse would clean the wound, wrap it carefully, and send you on your way. But here in this world, survival is often about making do with what's available, using what nature has to offer to get by. The wound throbs, and you realize just how vulnerable you are. In this time, where every step is a battle, a small injury could be the difference between life and death. You feel the weight of this reality pressing down on you. The wound is a reminder that in this world there is no room for error. Every moment is a fight to stay alive, a fight against the elements, against the animals, and even against your own body. Days pass and the cut begins to heal. You're careful not to use your injured hand resting as much as possible. You think about how quickly the wound could have become infected, how the slightest mistake could have turned into something far worse. You think of the many others who have survived similar injuries, using their knowledge of the earth and the community to heal and carry on. The lesson is clear in this world. No injury is small enough to ignore. The archaeologists in their studies have found evidence of injuries on prehistoric skeletons, broken bones, cuts and burns that have healed over time. These people survived despite the crude nature of their medicine, and their resilience is a testament to the strength of human endurance. It's proof that even without modern tools or doctors, people manage to heal and carry on relying on their own resourcefulness and the support of their tribe. And now you know the truth. Survival isn't just about avoiding danger. It's about facing it, dealing with the consequences, and carrying on no matter what. Part 8. Burn from the Campfire. That night, the tribe gathers around a larger fire than usual. The scent of roasting meat fills the air, and the crackling of the flames creates a rhythmic, comforting sound. You sit near the fire, your stomach growling in anticipation of the feast to come. The roasted meat smells so good, it almost makes you forget the troubles of the day. You lean forward, eager to turn the meat for a more even cook when disaster strikes. The coals are hotter than you expected. As you reach out to turn the meat, your hand brushes against a glowing ember, the heat sharp and immediate. You jerk back, but it's too late. The damage is done. The searing pain shoots up your arm, and you instinctively pull your hand away, but the burn is already there, blistering red and painful. You scream out in agony, clutching your hand to your chest. The pain is intense, as though the skin on your palm is being eaten away by the flames themselves. You rush to the water, thrusting your hand into the cool stream, but the cold water only provides brief relief before the burning pain flares up again, stronger than before. The tribe watches, murmuring, their faces filled with concern, but there's little they can do. A few people from the tribe suggest different remedies. Some propose using cold ash, while others suggest blowing on the burn to cool it. Eventually, someone brings over a handful of crushed herbs and places them on the burn. You grit your teeth, the herbs smelling pungent as they stick to your skin. You can't help but think of the modern world, the soothing creams, the burn ointments, the relief you would feel after a quick application. Here, all you have is dirt herbs and the hope that it works. As the night wears on, the burn continues to throb, the pain unrelenting. You try to rest, but every time you move, the pain spikes. You think of modern pain relief ointments, bandages, the small comforts that come with convenience. But here there's no comfort, no quick fix. Instead, you lie in the dark waiting for the pain to dull, wishing that you had something more than herbs and hope. You can't help but imagine a modern burn kit creams cooling gel and bandages, something that would ease the pain with little effort. You think about how easily you would be treated today. But here, the only relief you can get is through patience and the hope that the herbs will heal you. The next day, your hand is swollen, blistered, and raw. You can't do much with it, but at least you're alive. You're reminded of the fragility of your existence here. In the modern world, a burn like this would likely be treated immediately. But here, it's just another hurdle you must face, another challenge to endure. Archaeologists have found evidence of burns on ancient bones and remains suggesting that prehistoric people often faced the danger of fire and had to deal with injuries like these on a regular basis. Their methods were crude, but effective enough to allow them to survive. They didn't have the luxury of modern treatments, but they had something else, the resourcefulness to heal with what they had available. And now you understand the truth. Survival is about perseverance, about finding ways to heal when the world doesn't offer easy solutions. It's about enduring no matter how much it hurts. Part 9. Insect bites, swelling your body. You think that after surviving the burn, the broken leg and the tooth pain, surely there can't be another challenge to face. But nature, relentless as it is, has other plans. One evening, as you lie on the hard cave floor, your body sore from the trials of the past days, a new torment begins. It starts as a slight itch, just a tiny annoyance, but soon your skin is crawling with irritation. The insects, tiny but fierce, have found their target. Mosquitoes, flies, and biting gnats swarm the area, attracted by the warmth of the fire. They descend on you like a cloud, their tiny bites leaving red welts across your exposed skin. At first it's tolerable. You swat at them lazily, thinking it's just another passing discomfort. But soon the bites multiply, each one causing your skin to swell and redden. You scratch relentlessly, your skin burning with the need to relieve the constant irritation. But the more you scratch, the worse it gets. Your arms, legs, and face become covered in lumps, swollen and tender to the touch. The pain and discomfort are overwhelming. You try to move away from the fire, thinking that the smoke might drive them off. But the insects follow you, relentless and hungry. You think back to the modern world, how simple it would be to reach for a bottle of insect repellent, or even a mosquito net. A few sprays, and you could sleep undisturbed, free from the constant torment of bites. But here, there's nothing to keep the pests at bay. The tribe members tell you to sit near the fire, as the smoke can sometimes ward off the insects. But the smoke stings your eyes, and while it might keep some insects away, it's not enough to stop the swarm. You realize that in this world, survival is as much about tolerance as it is about strength. You must endure, even when every inch of your body is covered in itchy, painful bites. You try to sleep, but the itching and swelling make it impossible. Every time you shift, every time you scratch it, only makes the problem worse. One of the elders, noticing your distressed motions, for you to follow. She leads you to a pile of dried herbs and crushed leaves. She mixes a paste, grinding the ingredients together with quick, practiced hands. She applies it to your swollen skin, and for the first time since the insects arrived, there's some relief. The burning sensation fades slightly, replaced by a cool, tingling feeling. The swelling doesn't disappear, but the paste gives you the chance to rest, at least for a moment. You lie back exhausted and realize just how much you've learned since arriving in this world. In the modern world, the solution to your problem would have been quick and easy. You would have gone to the store, bought a bottle of insect repellent, and the problem would have been solved. Here you have to rely on the earth, on nature, on whatever remedies the tribe has passed down through generations. Archaeologists have found signs of insect bites on ancient skeletons, evidence that prehistoric people lived with these same struggles. They didn't have insect spray or nets, but they had their knowledge of the land and the resources available to them. They survived not because they had the tools we have today, but because they knew how to use what they had. And now you know the truth. Survival in this world isn't just about finding the perfect solution. It's about learning to make do with what you have, enduring the discomforts, and relying on your own resilience and the wisdom of those around you. You've survived the insects, but the question remains, what other challenges will this world throw at you next? Part 10. Stomach ache. After the raw meat feast. The days have passed and you've learnt to live with the constant challenges of this prehistoric world. The insects, the injuries, the illnesses, each one tests your endurance, but you survive. But just when you think you've weathered every storm, something new arises. It starts innocently enough. The tribe has caught a wild deer, and there's excitement in the air. You can smell the roasting meat, and your stomach growls in anticipation. As the fire crackles and the meat sizzles, the tribe prepares a feast. But there's a twist. Some of the hunters, eager to eat, decide to sample the raw meat, cutting off a piece and chewing it without cooking it. You're hungry, and the idea of fresh meat is tempting. You've seen others eat it before, and they seem fine. Maybe it's the hunger, or maybe it's the raw instinct that urges you to join in. You take a piece of the raw meat, feeling its coolness against your teeth as you tear it apart. It's not like anything you've ever tasted before, rich, gamey, and oddly satisfying. But within minutes of swallowing, something feels off. At first, it's just a discomfort, a strange heaviness in your stomach. You ignore it, telling yourself it's nothing. But then the pain begins to intensify, spreading from your stomach to your chest. Your gut churns violently, and soon you feel the unmistakable cramps of a stomach in distress. The world tilts. Your vision blurs, and you feel the urgent need to lie down. The pain is sharp, twisting like a knife through your abdomen, and you groan in misery. You try to stand, but your body is weak, your legs trembling beneath you. The rest of the tribe looks on with concern, but no one seems surprised. They've seen this before. Some of the older members have warned you about eating raw meat, telling stories of the sickness that can come from it. You've heard the rumors about parasites, about the bacteria that can take root in your gut. But you never thought it would happen to you. You remember the modern world where food safety is a priority. In your previous life, you would have been warned about eating raw meat, about the risks of bacteria and parasites. You would have simply cooked it, and the problem would have been solved. But here, there's no modern refrigeration, no understanding of food safety. Here, eating raw meat could mean hours or even days of excruciating pain. The tribe members move quickly. One of the elders brings over a handful of herbs, crushing them into a paste. She hands it to you, urging you to eat it. You're desperate, so you swallow the bitter concoction, feeling it burn as it slides down your throat. The taste is revolting, like the earth itself has invaded your mouth. But you have no choice. You hope it will work, that it will calm the sickness raging inside you. The hours pass slowly, and the pain begins to ebb, but it doesn't fully fade. You lie on the hard ground, your stomach still aching, your body weak from the battle it just fought. The tribe continues with their feast, but you can't bring yourself to eat more. You feel nauseous just at the thought of food. All you want is the relief that comes from the pain passing. You reflect on the modern world, where food is cooked, where contamination is minimized, where sicknesses like this can be avoided with a simple precaution. In this world, you're at the mercy of your body and nature's whims. There's no store to buy medicine, no clean kitchen to prepare food. You have to trust your instincts and the wisdom of the tribe, hoping that what works for them will work for you. Archaeologists have found evidence of stomach ailments and illnesses in ancient skeletons, showing that prehistoric people often suffered from foodborne diseases. They didn't understand germs or bacteria, but they did what they could to survive. And sometimes, survival meant suffering through sickness and hoping the community's knowledge would carry them through. And now you understand the truth. Survival isn't always about avoiding sickness. It's about enduring it, about knowing how to heal and recover, and about leaning on the strength of the community when your body fails you. Part 11. Fall from a low cliff. You've survived the trials of illness, injuries, and hunger, but the world seems to have a way of throwing yet another challenge at you when you least expect it. One morning, the tribe sets off to forage for wild fruits in the nearby hills. A journey that, for the most part, is uneventful. The air is crisp, and the sun rises lazily, casting long shadows over the valley. It seems like a peaceful day, but as always, nature has a different plan. As you make your way up a gentle slope, the ground beneath your feet begins to feel unstable. You take a step, and your foot slips on a wet patch of stone, sending you tumbling forward. In an instant, you find yourself careening down a small cliff, your body flailing uncontrollably. The world spins around you as your hands reach out, grabbing at anything to stop the fall. But there's nothing, just the sharp rocks and the unforgiving earth. You crash to the ground with a sickening thud, your body slamming against the jagged rocks at the bottom. Pain shoots through your limbs, and you can barely catch your breath. The wind knocked out of you. You lie there for a moment, dazed, trying to process what just happened. Your head spins, and you feel a throbbing pain in your back and arms. The tribe rushes to your side, the familiar faces filled with concern, but there's little they can do. You can't help but think of the modern world, how a fall like this would have you rushed to the hospital, where a team of doctors would assess your injuries and treat you with care. You'd be scanned for broken bones, given medication to ease the pain, and probably be resting in a soft bed in no time. Here, though, there are no doctors, no machines, only the hands of your tribe to help you heal. You try to move, but your body protests pain, radiating through your spine and limbs. The tribe members quickly assess you, muttering in their language before one of them goes off to gather leaves and sticks. They work swiftly, creating a crude splint to stabilize your body. They know that every injury must be treated carefully. No modern hospital, no pharmacy, just the raw knowledge of survival passed down through the generations. The pain is relentless. You can feel every bruise, every scrape, and every jolt of your spine as they move you carefully to a resting place near the fire. The wound on your side aches with every breath, and the effort to shift your weight makes the agony even worse. But the tribe members continue to work, wrapping your injuries in leaves and herbs, using the natural resources they have to ease the pain. You lie there feeling the weight of the world on your sore body, but the thoughts of modern medicine seem like a distant dream. You think about the comforts of modern life, safety, cleanliness, hospitals with well-trained professionals. You long for the ease of a few pills or an injection to relieve the pain. But here in this world, survival means adapting, using the earth and your tribe to heal. Archaeologists have uncovered many ancient skeletons with evidence of broken bones and fractures, suggesting that early humans endured injuries like this often. Without modern treatments, they survived by relying on their tribe's knowledge and the strength of their community. They didn't have painkillers, no surgical procedures, but they had something else: determination and a collective will to live. And now you realize the truth. Survival in this world isn't about avoiding pain or danger. It's about learning to live with it, to endure and heal through the strength of yourself and your tribe. You close your eyes, feeling the weight of the primitive world around you. But there's a small spark of hope. You'll survive this, just like the others who came before you, who lived through their own trials and tribulations, knowing that each challenge only made them stronger. Part 12. Injury while hunting. The days pass as you recover from your fall, your body stiff and sore, but slowly healing. You've learned to adapt to this harsh world, enduring each setback with patience, relying on the strength of the tribe and the earth itself to keep you going. Yet just as you begin to feel a sense of normalcy, the next challenge comes unexpectedly. It's a bright morning, and the tribe is preparing for a hunt. The excitement is palpable. The hunters are eager to set out, their spears sharp, their minds focused. You, despite your recent injuries, are determined to prove your worth. You can't help but feel that the tribe expects you to contribute, to show that you're still a part of the collective strength that has gotten you this far. The hunt begins as always, quiet, stealthy, moving through the tall grass, the hunters weaving in and out like shadows. Your heart beats in your chest as you follow the others, your legs still weak from the fall, but carrying you forward. You're determined to push through the pain. You know that in this world, showing weakness could be seen as a liability, and survival demands strength, even if it's just the appearance of it. The prey is ahead, a large deer grazing unaware of the approaching danger. The hunters signal to each other, and you prepare your spear, your hands gripping the shaft. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself. But just as you make your move, something goes wrong. Your foot catches on an unseen rock, and you stumble. In that split second, your spear flies off course. Your body lurches forward, trying to regain your balance, but in the chaos, you collide with one of the other hunters. The spear once meant for the deer is now headed in the wrong direction. Your own ally attempting to dodge your fall takes the brunt of the blow. The sound is horrifying. Your friend cries out in pain, a sharp gasp as the spear digs into their side. Panic floods through you as you watch them stagger back, blood beginning to spill from the wound. The hunt, once focused and swift, has now turned into a nightmare. You kneel beside your friend, trying to assess the damage, but your mind is spinning with dread. You didn't mean for this to happen, but in this world, mistakes can cost lives. The tribe rushes to your side, their faces etched with shock. The elder quickly examines the wound and gestures for you to help, her voice steady, despite the gravity of the situation. There's no time to waste. You gather yourself, trying to shake off the guilt that clouds your mind, and follow the tribe's lead. Together you work to stop the bleeding, applying pressure and wrapping the wound with leaves and animal skin. The blood continues to flow, slow but steady, and you can feel the weight of responsibility heavy in your chest. You think again of the modern world of sterile bandages, emergency medical teams, the swift efficiency of hospitals. A wound like this could be treated in an instant, stitched up antibiotics given to prevent infection. But here there's nothing but the earth and the will of the tribe. You feel your own helplessness, knowing that even with the best efforts, you can't guarantee the survival of your friend. This world is unforgiving, and even the slightest mistake can lead to irreversible consequences. The days stretch on, and the healing process is slow. You feel a deep sense of shame for what happened, but you also understand that survival here is about learning from your mistakes. The tribe never blames you outright. They know accidents happen, but there's a clear expectation you must carry on, must prove that this mistake won't be your downfall. The archaeologists have uncovered evidence of early humans who suffered injuries during hunts, many of which were fatal without modern care. Early humans didn't have antibiotic stitches or even proper tools for first aid, yet they survived. They learned from their mistakes, growing stronger and more resourceful with each trial they faced. In this world, survival isn't just about skill, it's about resilience, about adapting, and above all, about the strength of the community. And now you understand the truth. Survival is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about overcoming them, about learning to endure the consequences, and about relying on the tribe to help you through the most difficult times. You've made it through another trial, and though the guilt remains, you know you must move forward, ready for whatever comes next. Part 13. Windstrike on the Meadow. You faced many challenges in this harsh, unforgiving world. Broken bones, sickness, hunger, and the pain of knowing that survival is a daily battle. But even as you begin to recover, a new test arises this time. It's the wind. The day begins innocently enough. The sun rises clear and bright, and the tribe sets off for the meadow to forage and hunt. You've learned to find solace in the rhythm of daily life, despite the constant hardships. There's a strange sense of peace that comes with being outside, surrounded by nature. The breeze that blows across the meadow is cool and refreshing, a welcome relief after the scorching heat of the day before. But then the wind shifts. It picks up suddenly, growing stronger and colder, sweeping through the meadow like a living force. You feel it first as a chill in the air, followed by a wave of intense cold that bites through your animal skins. The wind howls a low, eerie sound that fills the silence of the meadow with an unsettling force. You pull your cloak tighter around your shoulders, but it doesn't help. The wind is relentless. The others in the tribe begin to feel the effects of the wind as well. Some of them pull their hides tighter, while others crouch low to the ground, trying to shield themselves from the cold. You notice that despite their best efforts, the wind seems to penetrate everything, the hides, the clothing, the very bones of the earth itself. It's then that you realize something you hadn't before. The wind is more than just a discomfort. It's a force that could change everything. You watch as one of the tribe members begins to shiver uncontrollably, their skin turning pale, their body shaking as if it's about to snap in two. The wind isn't just cold, it's brutal, capable of causing sickness or even death if you're exposed to it too long. You think back to the modern world, where the cold is manageable, where heaters and warm clothing keep the biting winds at bay. In your previous life, a gust of wind would have been nothing more than an inconvenience. You could simply retreat indoors, away from the elements, and rest in the comfort of warmth. Here in this world, the wind doesn't offer such comfort. It's a constant, ever-present threat, one that can claim your life if you aren't careful. The tribe begins to move, gathering more hides and searching for shelter. You follow your body stiff with cold, the wind howling around you. You think about the shelters you once knew, houses with thick walls, doors that kept the cold out, and fires that burned warm and steady. Here, the best you can do is huddle together with the tribe and hope that the shelter you find will protect you from the worst of the storm. As the day wears on, the wind doesn't relent. It grows colder, more insistent, and you realize that you must endure once again. In this world, there's no retreat from the elements. There's no cozy indoor space to hide in. Survival means bearing the wind, feeling it tear at your skin and your bones, knowing that if you survive it, you will have earned another victory. The archaeologists who studied ancient remains have found evidence of people who lived through brutal winters and harsh winds. They survived not through the comforts of modern life, but by their resourcefulness and the strength of their communities. These early humans found ways to endure the cold, to shelter themselves from the elements, and to keep going, no matter how fierce the wind or how harsh the environment. And now you understand the truth. Survival isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It's about learning to endure the forces of nature, to make peace with the wind, the cold, and everything else the world throws at you. You've survived the wind's first strike, but you know that there will be more to come. The key is not to resist it, but to embrace it, to know that if you can survive the storm, you'll be stronger on the other side. Part 14. Headache from the stone drum. The days pass and the tribe, though tired and weathered, moves through life with an unspoken rhythm. There's always work to be done, hunting, gathering, surviving. But tonight, the air is different. Tonight is a special night, one that you can feel deep in your bones. The tribe prepares for a ceremony, a ritual that has been passed down through the generations. You watch as they gather around a large stone drum, a sacred object worn and chipped by years of use. The drum is massive, its surface covered with ancient symbols and carvings. The rhythm of the drum, once simple, is now a deep, resonant sound that echoes through the cave. It's meant to summon the spirits to honor the gods who guide the tribe's survival. But to you, it is a force of pain, the drum beats vibrating through your skull with every strike. At first, the music is powerful, stirring something deep within you, something primal. The drummers move in unison, their hands striking the stone with precision, sending a pulse of sound into the air. You can feel the vibrations in your chest, the beat reverberating down to your bones. But soon the sound becomes too much. It's no longer rhythmic, it's relentless, pounding into your mind, each beat like a hammer on your skull. The headache starts as a dull throb, but quickly builds into something much worse. It's a sharp, almost unbearable pain, as if the drumming is not just in the air but inside your head. You try to ignore it, but the pounding continues each strike of the drum, like a new wave of pain. Your vision blurs, and you feel yourself swaying, trying to hold on to the ground beneath you. The air is thick with smoke from the fire, and the sound of the drum fills every corner of the cave, making it impossible to escape. You think of the modern world, of the quiet, of the peace that comes with silence. In your previous life, a headache would have been treated with a little rest, a sip of water, maybe a pill. The pain would pass quickly, and you would go back to your routine. But here in this world, there's no relief. There's no aspirin, no quiet space to retreat to. You are forced to endure. You wonder how the people of this time lived through such pain. You imagine the ancient people, their skulls ringing with the sound of the stone drum, their bodies still absorbing the rhythm. How did they cope with this day after day, year after year? The answer, you realize, is simple. They survived by enduring. In this world, endurance is everything. The pain from the drum is not just physical, it is symbolic. It is the embodiment of everything this world throws at you. The challenges, the suffering, and the need to push through, no matter how much it hurts. As you sit there, trying to steady yourself, you reflect on how far you've come. The drumming is still in your head, but now it feels different. It is not just noise, it is part of the world you've come to understand. It's a reminder that in this world, you have no choice but to endure. The pain will pass, just as everything else does. It always does. Archaeologists have found evidence of ancient rituals involving drumming with ceremonial instruments like the stone drum used in rituals to connect with the spiritual world. These rituals, though painful, were integral to the survival of the tribe. The drumming wasn't just a noise, it was a part of life, a part of what kept the tribe connected to the world around them, to the gods and to each other. The pain you feel now is a reminder of this connection, a connection that binds you to the past, to the people who lived before you, and to the world that will continue long after. And now you understand the truth. Survival isn't just about physical endurance, it's about enduring the mind too. It's about accepting the pain, embracing it, and knowing that it will pass. You've survived another trial, and with every drumbeat you grow stronger, more attuned to the rhythm of life in this harsh world. Part 15. Aging with Scars. As the years pass, in this relentless world, your body begins to show the marks of survival. Each scar is a testament to the battles you fought, some big, some small, but all significant in their own way. You've learned to live with them, to see them not as reminders of pain, but as symbols of your endurance, your ability to survive in a world where even the smallest mistake could be your last. You sit by the entrance of your cave one evening, the golden light of the setting sun casting long shadows across the meadow. The wind is gentler now, but the years of harsh living have left their mark on you. Your skin is weathered darker than it once was, and your hands are covered in calluses, the fingers worn from countless tasks. You run your fingers over the scars that line your arms, the deep gashes from hunting accidents, the burns from the fire, the cuts from working with stone tools. They're a map of your life, a record of your struggles. Your mind wanders to the early days when everything was new, the excitement of the hunt, the thrill of surviving through the night. Back then, you never thought much about the future, about how the body would change, how the scars would accumulate. But now with each passing year, you feel the weight of your experiences, the toll they've taken on your body. It's not just the scars on your skin, but the weariness in your bones, the aches in your joints that make it harder to get up each morning. The tribe gathers around the fire, laughing and telling stories, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. You watch them, feeling a sense of gratitude for the community you've built for the people who have helped you through the hardest times. They are like you, worn and weathered by life, but still standing, still fighting, still living. You realize that you've become a part of this tribe, a part of this world, and your scars are not just reminders of your pain, but symbols of your strength. You think about the modern world again, where people go to great lengths to hide their scars, to erase the evidence of their struggles. You think of how much effort is put into making everything look perfect, into avoiding the marks that come with living. But here in this world, scars are worn with pride. They are proof that you've survived, proof that you've lived. Archaeologists have found ancient skeletons that show the marks of lives well lived. Broken bones, scars from hunting accidents, wounds that were once life-threatening, but healed with time. These people, just like you, wore their scars with pride. They didn't have access to the luxuries we have today, but they had something else: resilience. The ability to endure, to survive, to keep going no matter what. And now you understand the truth. Survival isn't just about fighting the elements or avoiding danger. It's about learning to live with the scars, to accept them as a part of who you are. Each scar tells a story, and each story is a part of your journey. You may be older now, your body may be worn and tired, but you've earned each and every mark. You've survived, and in this world, that's what matters most. As the sun sets and the fire crackles, you take a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the flames on your skin. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the sounds of the tribe around you. You've made it this far, and you know that no matter what comes next, you'll keep going. Because in this world, survival isn't just about strength, it's about endurance, about resilience, and about living with the scars that tell the story of who you are.